Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Dr. Amanda Shee. I'm an anesthesiologist and intensivist. And today I want to talk about reasons I love being an academic physician. So there's a lot of different kinds of pathways that physicians can take once they're done with training, being residency or fellowship. One path that I thought initially I would take was to go into the private practice or community hospital route, where my practice would look quite different because the majority of my time would be spent on clinical endeavors and clinical work compared to an academic practice where there is an opportunity to be able to do other types of things to enrich the clinical work that also is present in academic centers. So I initially, when I went to residency, I thought that I would go back to this private practice that I was really familiar with back at home in Michigan. But when I was finishing residency and considering my fellowship and in the middle of my fellowship, it became clear that there was something really special about the place that I was at. And there was also an interest of mine to be able to have more flexibility in my career, to be able to do some of the other things that also fill up my cup. So I really love medicine, the practice of medicine. I love the clinical practice, and it brings me a lot of joy and fulfillment. But I also know myself and knew that I really wanted and needed, as part of my practice, to have more than just the clinical side of things. By being an academic physician or an anesthesiologist intensivist in my situation, I'm able to get some of these extra things. So the three big things that I really love about being an academic physician include, number one, being able to work with residents, fellows, trainees, so medical students, pre-meds. I find that working with learners and being able to be a teacher really forces me to be able to also be up to date on knowledge, to be able to explain things very deeply, and to be able to be reminded of where I came from and be reminded of what it was like when everything was new, and experiencing the highs and lows of training and of becoming a physician, being able to see kind of that light bulb moment in some of my trainees in terms of when a concept finally clicks, or they're really proud of themselves for being able to do some new technique or trial something or understand something at a high level, to be able to care for a really challenging or busy or really sick patient. These types of moments are so valuable and such nice reminders to me about kind of where I came from. And I think that that is a really big piece of why I love working with trainees. And ultimately, I think that in order to really demonstrate competency and to be able to show your knowledge and really build on your knowledge, you need to have people ask you questions, and ask you questions from different perspectives that you may not always think about on your own. So I think and learn in a certain way, and my trainees and learners think and learn in other ways. And so by being surrounded by learners and people of different walks of life and different backgrounds, and coming to training with a different perspective and lens that I have, really expands my horizons, and it keeps me really excited about every single day. Even though a clinical case that we're doing might be straightforward in some way, there's always something to learn. There's always something to experience. There's always something to connect upon. And I think that that is something that is so gratifying to me. And I think I would have a really hard time being in a place where I didn't have the opportunity to work with residents or trainees in some form. The second thing I really was drawn to about academic medicine was my colleagues. So all the people I'm surrounded by, they are really incredible, curious people that are so interested in interesting questions and exploring that, and being able to have conversations about a myriad of different things. And so I'm always so impressed by how humble the people I work with are, yet when I delve deeper into their knowledge base, or I ask questions about something that they're working on, it's amazing to see these individuals light up because their passion shines through, and be able to be surrounded by people that are experts in areas that I may have some deficits in, so that I can use their expertise and be able to learn from it, and then also be able to hopefully pass some of the expertise on to trainees, et cetera, et cetera. It is incredible how the environment that I'm working with really does breed this idea of being able to grow and being able to always be a lifelong learner and being able to ask questions and wonder if there are ways, like through research or other kinds of quality improvement projects, to make things better always. So being surrounded by my colleagues is a really big reason why I stayed. And the other comment I'll say is, besides that sense of community, of curiosity, and that sense that I am surrounded by people that are kind of like me in a lot of ways, there also is something to be said about the deep connections that you build with individuals who understand the work you're doing, who see you day to day, in and out, who are there for you when you're going through a challenging time at work, especially in these acute settings in the hospital. There are a lot of things that we experience and that we encounter that many people have never seen before or have never experienced before. So being able to have that community, that safe, secure community within my hospital has been really, really valuable to me, to be able to stay grounded and to stay even keeled and be able to want to go back to work every day, even when I've had a really stressful day or had some interpersonal interactions that didn't put me in the best mood. There's a lot of reasons to constantly go back because I feel supported. I feel like I have a tribe at my workplace, and I feel like that also matters a lot when trying to assess what is the right place or the right fit for a job after training. And then finally, the third reason that I really, really love being an academic physician is the flexibility to explore more than just clinical medicine. So clinical medicine is so important. I want to make it very clear that there's a lot of practices that are non-academic that are necessary with really, really smart people who are incredible clinicians. And in a lot of ways, they could be better clinicians than some of us because they see certain things very, very frequently. They have a different set of skills that are adopted to their particular type of practice. And ultimately, every single practice is being pushed in different ways because of the current market and because of pressures from above that forces you to learn different things and forces you to have skills that I may not need to practice at my academic setting. So there is a need, and there's not one right path to take when you're deciding on a job, but there is a need to figure out what fits for your priorities and what things that allow you, what kind of position allows you to pursue the things that you prioritize and that fill you up and that matter to you long term. So for me, I love clinical medicine. I find it to be incredibly engaging. I am in awe every single day when I go to work and see how well each of us works together and how we're able to help a patient or multiple patients every single day. And it is a really gratifying and fulfilling thing that I do. I also love my work in the ICU. I take care of a lot of really sick patients, but I also see a lot of really sick patients get better. And it is an incredible feeling to be able to be part of that healing process for patients. That being said, if I only did clinical medicine, I feel like my risk of burnout would go way through the roof. Now, the reality for me is that I know I take my work home with me. I know that I am constantly thinking about, how did my decision there influence this patient's trajectory? How could I have encountered or how could I have reacted better in that situation? Was there something I'm missing? Can I think about where my gaps or where my biases might lie that have led me to a certain decision or to guide us in a certain direction? There are times when I will reflect at night back and I think back and I say, that's something I have to take care of tomorrow, especially when I'm in the ICU and I'm there for 5 or 7 days straight. The whole week I am on. I may not physically be in the hospital that entire time, but I know myself and I know that work stays with me until out of the time where I'm assigned there. And even beyond that time, many of us that are in ICUs as intensivists or critical care physicians, we do continually think back, okay, what can I take from this? What lesson can I learn? How can I apply this in the future? And it does take a while to tone that down and tone down that voice and be able to almost not shed, but like process and then be able to move on from a week in the unit. The same thing goes when I'm in the operating room and I'm caring for someone that is really, really sick or someone that I've had to think very deeply about. It takes a lot of cognitive load to be able to do that in a way that feels right and that feels like I'm doing the best possible work that I can for a patient. So when that happens, I find that it actually takes me days to finish that. It's almost a level of rumination, but to finish that processing that I need to do to be able to feel like there's closure and that I can take the lessons I need from it and move on. Now, if I had to do that full 100% of my time, I know, because I experienced this in my first year when I was 100% clinical, I just didn't have any breathing room. It's to the point that I myself felt like I could not take a deep breath. And I didn't acknowledge that until more recently when I realized, hey, why is it that I feel like I can go into work, be 100%, be more even keeled, be able to respond to things in a fashion that I feel is more aligned with who I am, be able to be much better in my responses. I feel like that it's because I've now been able to, one, get comfortable with my clinical practice. So getting comfortable with being able to actually trust in my intuition, to be able to say, you know what, I know that I've had a decade almost of being a physician where I can say this is something that I'm confident in. So that component definitely plays a part. But the other component is that ability to really lean into the flexibility of my academic practice. So now I have this space to be able to participate in things in the hospital that I didn't feel like I could before. So I'm a part of a number of committees as part of my new position. I've been able to work on more research projects that have a clinical focus. I've been able to bring on pre-meds to be able to shadow me. So I've been able to actually expand the things that really fill me up outside of just clinical practice and bring those things back to clinical practice as well. So being in an academic position has afforded me more of that flexibility and support and kind of that ability to do things beyond the clinical medicine that I still love, but find that it can be very draining for me. So it's a good fit for me. That may not be a good fit for everyone. I definitely could see where there's certain advantages with being in a different kind of practice, but these are the reasons why I really, really love what I do as an academic physician. I know it's been a while since I've had an update. Thank you so much if you're one of my current followers and you were excited to see this video pop up. If you like what I had to say and my style of presenting things, please like this video and subscribe below, and I will see you next time.